Two dimensions, one being the hidden truth about dark chosen ones. Imagine a world where light and dark are not enemies, but twin forces of creation. Now imagine that within this world there are beings rare, often misunderstood, who walk between both realms. They are not saints. They are not demons. They are bridges. And the most powerful among them, the ones no one talks about, the ones feared and forgotten, they are the dark chosen ones. You don't find them in temples. You don't hear their names in spiritual circles. But in fact, most of them don't even know they carry this title. They live in silence, often in pain, shadowed by misunderstanding. But here's the truth. They came here to remember. They came here to rebuild. And they came here to reclaim that which the world has been trained to fear, the power of the dark, aligned with the heart of light.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
From the moment we are born, we are taught to fear the dark. Not just the literal absence of light, but everything associated with it: rage, grief, death, chaos, desire, rebellion. We are taught to sanitize our souls, to chase only the light, to believe that healing is about rising above the shadow. But dark chosen ones are born to do the opposite. But they are not here to escape darkness, they are here to enter it willingly, to navigate its depths, to speak its language, to retrieve the lost codes hidden in its silence. I was one of them, and maybe so were you. Have you ever wondered why your life has never fit the mold? Why your spiritual journey didn't look like peace and bliss, but more like destruction, isolation, and radical inner chaos? Why every time you tried to follow the typical path of awakening, something inside you screamed, "This isn't the whole truth"? That's because you weren't meant to follow someone else's light. You were meant to forge your own illumination in the dark. Dark chosen ones are not evil. That's the first lie we must shatter. They are not here to harm, they are here to hold what no one else can. They are the ones who can sit with the suicidal, the grieving, the rageful, the lost, and not flinch. Why? Because they've been there. They passed through death portals and emotional implosions that would terrify most. They felt the allure of destruction, not to indulge it, but to understand it. They faced their own inner monsters and made peace with them, not by slaying them, but by listening to them. That is the hidden strength of the dark chosen one, to stand in the fire and not burn, but transform. Most of us were not taught how to meet our shadow. We were taught to avoid it, to label it bad, to pray it away. But what if your shadow holds the ancient keys to your creative power, your leadership, your sacred rage, your revolutionary clarity? What if the parts of you've been told to hide, your intensity, your depth, your knowing, are the exact parts that make you chosen? Let me ask you something. What if the darkness you fear in yourself is not a curse, but a compass? You see, dark chosen ones don't awaken through light. They awaken through loss, through betrayal, and through abandonment, through breakdowns that feel like death and rebirth all at once. They don't glide into their purpose, they are forged in it. Every heartbreak, every silence, every moment they were misunderstood wasn't random, it was refinement. The universe was stripping away all illusions, all superficial identities, all safety nets, so they could stand fully exposed, raw, real, and ready. And this is exactly why they're so powerful. Because they've already died. Not physically, but spiritually. They've let go of who they thought they were supposed to be. They've faced the void, and in that void, they found something most people never touch: freedom. Not the kind sold in books or courses. The kind that comes when you no longer fear your own shadow. When you realize that the parts of you that feel too wild, too broken, too much are not flaws. They are frequencies of power awaiting mastery. Dark chosen ones are not here to play savior. They are not here to be liked. They are not here to fit in. They are here to shake the grid, to rupture illusions, to speak the truths no one else will. And that is why they are so often rejected. Because the world is still addicted to comfort while they are coded for awakening. And awakening is rarely comfortable. But if you've been told you're too intense, too quiet, too strange, too dark, you need to hear this. You are not too much. You are too real for a world built on masks, and that is your gift. But here's the twist. To truly step into your role as a dark chosen one, you have to own it. You have to stop hiding. Stop pretending you're just like everyone else. You're not. You never were. That ache in your chest, that edge in your voice, that knowing in your bones is not random. It's your reminder. You came here to disrupt the dream so the truth could be seen. And yet, this path is not about glorifying the dark. That would be another trap. The power of the dark chosen one is not in becoming chaos, it's in mastering it. In using the darkness as a tool of depth, clarity, and transformation. In moving through shadow not to dominate, but to liberate. So the real question becomes, are you willing to remember who you are, even if it costs you your comfort? Even if it makes others uncomfortable? Even if it means burning down the version of you the world accepted, to become the version of you your soul was always waiting for? Because once you say yes to this path, there is no going back. You don't return to normal. You become the storm that ends normalcy and births something sacred in its place. The silent code, how dark chosen ones carry the blueprint of collapse and creation. There is a language that the soul speaks before the mouth ever learns to move. It is silent, ancient, and encoded deep in the bones of those who carry something rare, something cosmic, something almost unbearable in its weight. That language is not taught, it is remembered. And for the dark chosen ones, it is not spoken in words but lived through experiences. Every collapse you've endured, every loss that shattered you, every moment you stood in your own wreckage, wondering who you were now, that was the code activating itself, not punishing you, initiating you. You see, the dark chosen ones don't just survive chaos, they are shaped by it. They carry within them a sacred architecture, a multi-dimensional blueprint designed to both dismantle illusions and construct new realities. But here's the catch. The blueprint doesn't activate in comfort. It only awakens through breakdown, isolation, and ego death. Why? Because only through emptiness can a new structure be built. But only by watching the old self fall apart can the true self begin to emerge from the ashes. Have you ever noticed that your life seems to fall apart right before something profound awakens within you? Have you seen patterns where relationships dissolve, careers collapse, identities vanish, and in the rubble, you find something real? That's not coincidence. That is the blueprint in motion. But it's not cruelty, it's calibration. The universe is stripping away everything built on falsehood, so the true system, your soul's unique frequency, can finally rise. This is what makes the dark chosen ones so dangerous to systems built on control. They don't just question reality, they live outside of it. They are not bound by the rules of appearance, hierarchy, or approval. They move differently. They see through the game, and more importantly, they are wired to rewrite it. But this isn't done through preaching or posturing. It's done through embodiment, through living fully and unapologetically in their truth, even when the world tells them they're wrong. But let's be honest, being the bearer of collapse and creation is a lonely role. You're the one who gets blamed when things fall apart. You're the one who gets called intense, unstable, too deep, too dark. But what they don't realize is that your presence is a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. When you walk into a space, people feel their masks slipping, their pretenses unravel, not because you attack them, but because your energy refuses to participate in illusion. And that is the deepest form of rebellion in a world addicted to false light. You have to understand, the dark chosen one is not here to be worshipped or followed. They are not the priest or the prophet. They are the frequency disruptor, the one who vibrates at such an unfiltered resonance that anything not aligned begins to collapse. And yes, that includes parts of you. This journey will require you to destroy versions of yourself again and again, not because they were wrong, but because they were temporary. They were stepping stones, not destinations. So how do you live with this kind of power? How do you walk through a world that fears your energy but secretly needs it? The answer is, you remember your role, not your reputation. You stop trying to be understood. You stop trying to be safe. You stop trying to make others comfortable at the expense of your own expansion. Because your path is not one of comfort, it is one of remembrance. You are here to remember the original code. The code that says collapse is not failure, it is sacred reset. Creation is not perfection, it is permission. And your life is not a mistake, it is a message. Let me ask you something that most people never dare to ask themselves. What if your breakdowns were not detours but instructions? What if every time your life fell apart, it was your soul initiating you into a deeper layer of your blueprint? And what if the pain wasn't punishment but purpose in disguise? When you stop resisting the collapse, something miraculous happens. You begin to see patterns. You start to trust the dismantling. You no longer cling to what's leaving you, prepare for what's coming. That is the mind of the architect. That is the heart of the dark chosen one, not controlling the chaos, but moving with it, not fearing the void, but listening to it. Because the void is not empty, it's pregnant with potential. And only those who know how to sit in the darkness without losing themselves can truly reach in and pull out the new world. So if you felt like your life keeps ending, again and again, maybe it's because you're not here to build within the system. Maybe it's because you are the system reboot. And maybe your pain is not a sign that something is wrong. Maybe it's proof that something ancient is waking up inside of you, something that can no longer be contained by the rules of the old world. You are not broken. You are becoming. The in-between realms, why dark chosen ones are the gatekeepers between dimensions. There is a space most people never enter, not because it is forbidden, but because it is terrifying. It is the space between what was and what's becoming, between light and dark, life and death, ego and soul. It is not a place you find on a map. It is not a realm you reach by following steps. It is a threshold you become when you stop clinging to certainty. And dark chosen ones, they are the ones who live there, not temporarily, but permanently. They are the gatekeepers of the in-between, this isn't metaphorical, it's energetic. It's real. When you're a dark chosen one, you don't belong to this world or the next. But you belong to the current, the edge, the crack in the system where truth leaks through. You're the one who sees what others refuse to see. You're the one who hears silence speaking. You feel timelines shifting. You sense when something is about to collapse or when something sacred is about to be born. And it's not because you're special, it's because you remember. You remember how to feel what others numb. You remember how to hold space when others run. You remember how to stay when both the light and the dark are screaming for control and you choose neither. You choose presence. This is the gift of the in-between. It's not about mastering light or mastering shadow. It's about mastering the space between them. That sacred void where nothing is certain, yet everything is possible. And that's where your power comes from. Not from control or clarity, but from your ability to hold mystery without collapsing into fear. Most people can't do that. They need answers. They need rules. They need to know which side they're on. But you were never meant to pick sides. You were meant to bridge them. Have you noticed how people come to you when they're confused, lost, breaking apart? Have you noticed how your presence becomes a portal, not because you solve their problems, but because you hold a space where truth can find them? That's not coincidence, that's initiation. You are a dimensional anchor, a being who can stay grounded even as others fall apart. You don't fix them, you witness them. You don't offer false hope, you offer real presence. And sometimes that's the most powerful thing of all. But make no mistake, this path is not easy. Living in the in-between means you rarely feel at home. You're always oscillating between worlds, between identities, between stages of becoming. You're an eternal alchemist, constantly dissolving what's outdated and calling in what's next. And the loneliness of that role is real. Because while others are choosing clarity, you are choosing truth. And truth doesn't always come with clarity. Sometimes it comes with silence. Sometimes it comes with loss. Sometimes it comes with the uncomfortable realization that you no longer fit into the life you built before you woke up. So how do you live as a gatekeeper between dimensions? You stop trying to explain yourself. You stop trying to be understood by those who are still addicted to certainty. You stop trying to name what you are and instead embody it. You walk like mystery. You speak like paradox. You love like duality itself. And when chaos comes, you don't run, you open the door. Because here's the truth most won't tell you. Reality is fluid. Time is not linear. You are not a static being. You are a frequency in motion. And when you accept that, you begin to move through this world with a different kind of power. A calm, unshakable presence that doesn't need to control anything because it knows how to navigate everything. So I'll ask you now, can you trust the in-between even when it gives you nothing to hold on to? Can you be the bridge even when it means watching both sides fall apart? Can you live as a gatekeeper even when it means standing alone? Because if you can, you're not just awakening. You're remembering the truth of what you are, a being who doesn't just walk between dimensions, but weaves them together. The final becoming, how dark chosen ones awaken the future through embodied truth. There comes a moment on this path where the search ends not because you found what you were looking for, but because you became it. You stop reaching for answers because you realize the answer was never outside of you. It was in the way you breathed through the fire, in the way you stood still in the storm, in the way you learned to carry both your light and your darkness without shame. This is the final becoming, not a destination, but a frequency. Not something you do, but something you are. The dark chosen ones don't arrive anywhere. They emerge. Slowly, painfully, beautifully. They emerge from the wreckage of their own illusions. They emerge from the silence of self-abandonment reclaimed. They emerge from the ruins of the identities they were forced to wear. And when they do, something changes, not in the world around them, but in the world through them. But they don't preach transformation. They embody it. They don't talk about awakening. They transmit it. But here's the hidden truth. This final becoming isn't about perfection. It's not about being healed, enlightened, or untouchable. It's about being real, fully, unapologetically real. It's about letting people see the cracks in your soul and realizing those cracks are where the light and the dark get in. It's about knowing that your pain isn't a liability, it's a portal. Your sorrow isn't a weakness, it's a teacher. Your rage isn't dangerous, it's sacred fire, waiting for direction. In a world obsessed with appearances, the dark chosen ones are here to embody truth. Not the kind of truth that gets applause, but the kind that changes lives. The kind that dismantles illusions with a whisper. The kind that breaks generational curses with a decision. The kind that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in knowing. And once you live from that place, you stop performing. You stop trying to fit into the spiritual mold. You stop chasing peace, and instead, you become a sanctuary, not because you're calm, but because you're honest. Because here's the paradox. When you finally stop trying to be light, you access a deeper radiance. When you stop hiding your shadow, your presence becomes liberating. When you stop trying to be seen, you suddenly become unignorable. This is what the world is starving for, not more gurus, not more teachings, but living examples of wholeness. People who have met their own darkness and didn't run. People who carry their scars not as shame, but as symbols of sovereignty. People who don't just speak about awakening, but exist as the embodiment of awakening in motion. So what does it mean to awaken the future? It means you live as if the future is already inside you because it is. It means every time you choose authenticity over safety, you shift the timeline. Every time you speak a truth that could cost you everything, you unlock a new path. Every time you love yourself in the places you were taught to hate, you reprogram the matrix. This is how dark chosen ones create the future, not by escaping the world, but by rewriting it from within. And no, it won't always be easy. There will be days where your frequency feels too heavy to carry. Days when you question your sanity and wonder if any of this is real. But even then, especially then, you are doing sacred work. Because choosing to live this path, to embody this truth, to hold both the dark and the light with reverence, is the most radical act of love you can offer this world. So I'll leave you with one final question, the kind that lingers long after the words have ended. If you stopped hiding, if you stopped shrinking, if you fully stepped into the truth of what you are, what future would awaken through you? You are not waiting for the shift. You are the shift. Now walk it.